right, welcome, revelers. This is Off the Rails, Right versus Left, the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil. I'm Rob B.
And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is evil.
Classic.
Ha ha. Ha ha.
Welcome, revelers. It's Off the Rails, Right versus Left. As the intro says, we do the podcast because I believe the left is evil, and actually, I don't even think they're human anymore. I think they're satanic aliens from another world. But Brian still thinks that they're humans and thinks they should be shown compassion. He's wrong, but we love him anyway.
Yeah.
So, this is a topic. We'll chit chat about some of the stuff, like I don't know. I'm still a Haley booster, although I'm seeing more people come out against Haley. Not quite as strong as they come out against Kamala Harris, but still some.
Well, you got to expect them to come out against her when she announces.
And then, let's see here. Well, I mean, Kamala hasn't announced anything. Joe hasn't even announced that he's running. Everybody in the Democratic Party is like trying to throw Kamala under the bus, plane, train, automobile. Maybe Pete Buttigieg is behind it. It's an awful lot of transportation running over Kamala. Well, no, it's Pete Buttigieg. If her Southwest flight is canceled and then she ends up on a derailed train. Anyway, so Brian's been wanting to talk about the space elevator, and like the concept is like really cool. So we're gonna talk about that too, and then like more toxic train wrecks. So I just don't even know. Before Brian starts describing the space elevator here, make sure like, subscribe, make sure you share, feel free to comment, and we'll try and respond if we see it when it rolls across. But we're always happy to hear from you guys, try and engage with you guys when you're on here. If you have any questions, if you want our worthless opinions on something, you can feel free to ask in the comments, and we're happy to respond to you. All right, so the space elevator. Assume that nobody here knows what a space elevator is.
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an literally an elevator to space. So they tie in a station in geostationary orbit above Earth to a line that is connected to a land-based facility. And then they send basically elevators from the ground to space, and not using all the propellant that it takes to get a rocket into space. So the idea is to cut back the cost to get, once it's built, it cuts back the cost of getting people and supplies from Earth, from the land, Earth, up to orbit.
Okay, so I get in principle, I get the idea. It's an interesting idea. So here's the problem. What is the cable going to be made of?
CNT. It's like they were saying, it was a thing of sci-fi until 1991. They came up with a new carbon nanotubes.
Okay, so carbon nanotubes. How much do they weigh per foot?
The CNTs?
Yeah.
I would have to look into that to see what it is. It's something they
So
came up with in 1991 back in Japan.
yeah, because even
Yeah,
when like I
Japan.
mean I get the carbon fiber tubes are going to be like ridiculously strong because they're like carbon fiber, but like the part about it that like doesn't make the most sense to me is like keeping that weight suspended in the air. Because I mean, obviously, like we put satellites into orbit all the time, and slowly their mass drags them down to Earth if they have no maneuvering ability.
Mhm.
So that's problem one. But like, I mean, the real affect on that is the weight of the carbon tubes. How you said this to me before the show. What's the altitude that this thing's going to be circling at?
Well, let's see. First, they would launch a spacecraft to low Earth orbit, which is
Right.
once it reaches an altitude of 36,000 kilometers, it'll start releasing the cable it'll send to the land-based unit. Now that's it'll get to the 36,000, get to geosynchronous orbit.
Mm-hmm.
So that just means it now, instead of circling the Earth, it just stays at one spot and rotates at the same speed as the Earth. So it always stays in the same spot.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, otherwise.
So,
Okay,
so
so
when
I'm gonna propose another like problem that just occurred to me.
Yeah.
So go ahead, keep going.
No, I was just saying, when it reaches 36,000 kilometers, it starts releasing the new nanotubes, which
Okay.
Japan they did develop back in. They thought it was science fiction until they developed this new nanotubes back in '91. Uh, so it starts releasing it as it continues to get further from Earth. The altitude it'll finally reach will be 96,000 kilometers, which
Okay.
just
What's up, snitches?
hey brother,
Oh, what's up, Brad?
just so you know, the moon is what 200 and what did I say, 246,000 kilometers.
Yeah. So like, I mean, no, you said like 348,000 or something like that.
Let me have it right here. Yeah, 384, 238 miles, almost 239, 384,400 kilometers.
Okay. So here's my thing. You're still talking about 93,000 kilometers, which
96,
is
yeah.
what'd you say? That's like 60,000 miles. Even if it's ultra light carbon nanotubes, how much does that weigh? Like, and how do you keep that suspended in the air? I mean, I get that, like, by the time you get to the orbital levels, to some degree, like, I mean, the satellites are there because they're high enough that they're beyond the critical threshold of gravity at that point, or the most critical, like, hold of gravity, if that makes sense. And that's why they're able to stay elevated. But they do, like, slowly but
Sorry, you sort of gargled out there.
He's frozen.
Is he frozen? Which, I mean, eventually, what happens is spacecraft releases the cable that slowly drops to Earth as it continues to get further away. So it'll be an extremely long cable, 96,000 kilometers. What they will eventually do is they'll get reinforcing cables on it with some counterweight at the top. Let's see. Then they attach a climber, which is made to climb to 36,000 kilometers, which is the height that it would use to release. The height is where it would release its cargo to break Earth atmosphere. I mean, this is just obviously an artistic rendering of what the station would look like with the cable heading down towards Earth and the lift coming up.
Oh, wow.
What's that?
I said, wow.
Yeah, this was something Japan came up with. It's an idea that they would like to build, and they say with the nanotubes they've developed back in '91 that they're actually capable of building this now. And this would be the ground-based unit where the cable comes down and mounts. Obviously, this would have some massive anchors dug into the ground off their coast.
Right.
But it uses that one lift to go up to the station where it has all its supplies, and then it would launch satellites, it would launch spacecraft, it would launch whatever. All right, so just a really cool idea. It was neat. It's something that's been in sci-fi for a long time, and it was just a really neat idea that Japan's been working on. Oh, we lost Rob again.
Oh, nice.
Now, as far as the weight of the cable, obviously there's some issues that Japan is going to have to work out with their scientists, and they seem to think that they've worked it out in a lot of ways. I mean, this last article is a year old, so we'll see what happens. But it's just a cool idea. I mean, I haven't had much time to do much research on it, other than reading the article. Thought it was pretty cool. Just a lot of ideas. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with space technology and getting people into orbit, because the biggest way for us to open up space is the cost of getting there. And obviously we are extremely excited for Starship, which Elon has been taking off with. Once he gets that up and going, the cost of getting to orbit is extremely low. It goes from millions and millions and millions of dollars to launch to thousands. Hey, Rob.
Yeah, those are some cool visuals there.
Yeah, that's the artistic rendering of the station that it would use at 36,000 kilometers. And then there you have the artistic rendering of the Earthbound base, the anchor point.
Okay, so does it address at all the physics of keeping suspended, even if it's anchored to something in geosynchronous orbit?
I'm sure it's all stuff they've been working on, but I haven't had much time to do much research on it.
So yeah, to me that's always been the issue with the space elevator, and that's why I'm curious what the technology is that they came up with that's gonna basically defeat gravity. But the previous research was that it was gonna they can obviously do stations, but they maintain the weight of the carbon fiber. And then what is the tensile strength of the because the stress points, if it's using the station as a weight, doing around the world with a yo-yo, then the stress factor put on the cable is going to be, how fast does the Earth spin? 1,000 miles an hour or something like that?
Let's see.
So and then somewhere I don't think it would be exactly dead center, but there would be that intersection point of the gravity pull and the weight of the state. So that center point would be under just an ungodly amount of strain. I think the line would snap in the middle. You get what I'm saying?
That's all stuff I've thought about, yeah. That's all stuff I'm sure they've been working on. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour.
Over my head.
So, yeah, I mean, that's basically okay, so say there's a solar flare that just causes the station to dip a little bit. I mean, the space station that's going to be floating, that it's going to be tethered to, is going to be 50 tons or something like that, right? So then when it does snap back, it's going to snap back like 50,000 miles, or like 50 tons at 1,000 miles per hour, like any like sort of cable that we're able to make on Earth. Okay, what I'm saying? So like, I wonder what they're doing for the like compensatory. Like this is going to be in Japan, earthquakes, tsunamis,
Mhm.
that's going to be added stress on the line. I have a hard, like, that's going to be constant strain on that line.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're
So and then I wonder, is like the like stationary orbit of the dependent on the tether, or is the, like, I mean, is it going to be out at an altitude that force would like fling it from the atmosphere, or like as you know, and the tether is holding it? Yeah, what I was talking to was like, seriously? That was, yes. So it just, I think, I don't think we're anywhere, if it's even possible. Like, I highly doubt it's possible. I mean, you can build a scale. We already have one. It's called a yo-yo.
Yeah, it's all questions that we have, they have. It's all questions that I've thought of, you thought of. There's still a lot of questions out there. They say they came up with the material that can actually accomplish the goal that they have of building it. But they supposedly, the article, which is a year old, said it was going to start testing last year. I wonder if they did.
Okay, so does the article, does like the
with
mass of the station or the tensile strength of the carbon fibers?
what's that?
Does the article say anything about the carbon fibers or the mass of the station that they're planning on using?
Dude, no, it's just a pretty basic article. Like I said, I haven't had time to really dig into it and try to do more research on it. They say they're starting testing in 2022, and they're with the company Abiyashi Corporation. They plan to start building in 2025 with the spacelift in 2050. But they have a lot of questions still to answer as far as with stuff. I mean, like you mentioned.
Can you
tension
imagine getting stuck in an elevator that goes 90?
What's that?
Can you imagine getting stuck in an elevator that goes 90?
You broke up.
Yeah, space elevator that goes night, and then then we lose you.
What about
a space station?
Imagine
getting stuck in an elevator that's a 90,000 kilometer trip. That would be.
Well, they're
and
not
like
the elevator to 90,000 kilometers. They're sending it to usually low Earth orbit, which a lot of it would be around the height of the space station for getting materials up. It's just the line would be a certain length, obviously for certain reasons.
Right.
With the anchor point.
But presumably the elevator would be able to go all. Or are there going to be?
Yeah, you'd assume they'd have the elevator capable of going to the full length of the line if they had to, but it just really depends as far as cost wise. What is the perfect height for the station to be launching materials and satellites?
Right, and then we're growing field of debris that we have out there in space junk.
Which is also,
I mean, the concept's fascinating. It's really cool how fast that elevator's gonna go. That would be hell of an amusement ride. You know, they'd probably get riders with that G-force.
what is it? It'd be like the equivalent of like a high-speed rail going through China or through Japan.
One of these buildings that I've got a client here, they're like on the 55th floor, like 15 seconds to get up there. Like, dude, it hits and it like feels like it's gluing you to the floor out your rear end. So, no, I mean, it's fascinating. I remember it from like Sim City and Civilization had a space element versions and all that. So, like, the concept's been around forever. I
Which
think
it says
our dreaming here.
It says the climber, the elevator would reach an altitude of 400 kilometers which is the height of the space station, International Space Station, in 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Which is almost the same traveling speed between Tokyo and Osaka by bullet train.
Okay. Well, I mean that might if they have like a space station up there or something like that. Like one wiggle in that line, like at the Earth level, is going to cause the move. So, like, how do you make a docking port up in the middle of the cable? Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but I just, and I'm sure about these problems, but I just like if the promo's not addressing all the like, I doubt the ability of them making fiber to keep the anchor tethered. Like it's plausible to me because just the sheer weight traveling at that velocity, I would think that I'd make have a tensile strength strong enough.
Well, then I guess what you should probably do is read up about it.
Yeah, I thought Brian was going to read up on it more.
Trying to, but don't.
What, you expect him to be a professor in the space elevator in like a half an hour?
Well, it's
No, he's been talking
it's
about
one
this
of the
for
many subjects I'm interested in. I just haven't had time to look into anything.
I feel you. I
So,
understand.
I'll try and track it down. Like just like I'm just thinking like just from the physics of the strain that would be just by the weight of the cable if they actually managed to stretch a cable 93,000 kilometers. Like, and I get that like I guess it's what after so. What altitude does it?
What altitude? What?
Do you go like because you're weightless on the space station, right?
I would imagine so.
I got something about the space station.
It's what station? There's right? There's no gravity on the space station.
Don't they have artificial gravity?
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. It's not rotation.
We're nowhere near having artificial gravity technology. They keep
that'll probably
talking about making. They keep talking about gravity using a rotating space station.
Yeah.
And again, the rotation uses that centripetal force, but the centripetal force is created through gravity. And if there is no gravity, I don't see how something rotating would generate gravity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah, I don't know. I think the closest we're going to get to gravity is if we're wearing magnetic boots.
Yeah. That would be safer than those tethers.
Didn't they use magnetic boots in The Expanse?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But
I think that's what they were doing there.
But no, like it just to me, you get what I'm saying though. Like that's great and all. It allows you to defy gravity on Earth, but that's because there's once you're in space, do you have enough? Do you as a human being that rotation would generate gravity that would hold you to at that that's serving as your floor? You know what I mean? What kind of revolutions per hour would it take to get that? And like then you need thousands of rotations, so 3,000 rotations, and like how much it maintain 3,000 revolutions in your car, for example. That's just for like what's it here, the drive shaft or whatever, rotating the drive shaft.
The crank.
The crankshaft, whatever. Yeah.
The pistons turning the crank, and the crank turning the transmission.
Yeah, but the pistons are turning the drive shaft. That's what, like 2-3 meters long at most.
The transmission's pushing the drive shaft.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's what's ultimately been. But that's ultimately rotated. So, like, on a spaceship or a space station that's rotating, create artificial gravity, like that's going to be a lot of mass to move. Maintaining the speed would be less. Like, I don't know. Lots of physics and calculations, and I don't think that we're like. I think we're technology of even being able to think about artificial gravity, much less actually make a trial run at it. I think the what other business does the company that's doing, or are they a startup specifically to do a space elevator?
What other business have they started?
Like, do they have a startup to do the space elevator?
That's definitely
so. My question on it is: the space elevator like publicity stunt, or is it just like a riff like that electric car company?
What is that?
The name of it. There was the one electric car company that they were like bragging about, like the technological break, and then like 5 years and hundreds of $millions later, they like never produced a single. The company's out of business, but everybody that was working for the company is rich.
There's been a lot of those type of companies.
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering is like, is that like in like a FTX style grift, like getting people's money to come in to build a space, $5 into building the impossible space elevator, and $5 million in my pocket elevator, $5 million in my pocket.
Yeah.
What about it's like the same thing with that wall village that they're trying to build in the Middle East.
The what's that? Like basically the arcology, again, stolen from SimCity. Can you hear me?
Brad.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Okay, so like, are you talking about the thing of building like a contained city?
Yeah, it's a wall, just a wall in the Middle East that they're building that people live in cubicles and work there. It's like a whole fucking town.
Yeah, I think strikes me as is the arcology concept that was like, I mean, it wasn't created, but the idea was the arcology technology where it's like a self-contained like city in a single building. And it's what I actually the elites want to do to us is like slam as many people as you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then how population of every country, if all you got to do is take down one building to kill two, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's insanity to me, especially since we now know that jet fuel it burns hot enough to soften steel struts. Eek. Yeah. But do you know much about the Burj Khalifa? Like that's like a mile tall.
What?
The Burj building in the world in Dubai, it's like almost a mile tall. So like literally,
Lion City is what they're calling that wall tower thing.
Lion
Saudi
City?
Arabia. Yeah, it's called Lion City. It's like a glass wall that's like a city. Everything that you need to do or live is in this whole entire wall. So you just live in this
I guess
wall.
I'm not getting the concept of a wall. That's crazy.
I don't either, but they say that it uses the sunlight to give it. It's just a big giant wall in the middle of Saudi Arabia. Like it goes from windows to someplace else.
Which they've talked about for years, the self-contained city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's face
You
it.
literally have
That's what
everything,
they
so
wish
you
they
would
could
never
do to
have to
all of
leave
us.
the city. The parks, the lakes, everything would be built inside this one structure, all self-contained.
Yeah, but there'd be no way for you to have a vehicle there, parked there, so they'd have you trapped where your quarters.
Well, they wouldn't. Yeah, the idea is you wouldn't need a vehicle here because everything would be accessed through elevator or whatever.
Okay, but much less like I wouldn't want to stay in the same building. I can't imagine who would want to live like that.
Dude, I don't know many of us that would. I mean, it kind of goes against the whole idea of what Americans believe in, the independence to be able to just, and that's one reason cars became so popular, because you could travel somewhere and then you could go, oh, you know what? That looks really cool. I think I'm going to cut this way and go over there. Where in Europe and Asia, trains are so popular because it takes you from point A to point B. There's no detouring as you're traveling.
Right.
On the trains in Asia?
Everywhere in the world except North America.
How often in the world do trains derail?
Derail?
Yeah.
I know.
How many derailments happen in Japan?
1,000 a year right now. Huh?
How many trains derail in Japan each year?
The Bradford? I don't know. How many?
I don't know either. That's what I'm saying.
I thought you were asking.
There's a lot derailing in the U.S. right now.
Oh yeah, I know. And since they started counting it, like in the late '90s, it's been like 50-some thousand. I mean, we're tracking already this year, like 700 or 500 or something like that already.
Yeah, right now we're running at a clip of about 2 a day.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many caused by Chinese special forces that came across the border is known gotaways.
It's gonna be a long time till we know that type of information, just because it's we have no idea who's coming across.
You and me and Rob are never gonna know. I can guarantee you that. There's no way we're ever gonna know a Chinese Secret Service spy got over the border.
Yeah, because if I see a bunch of Chinese people running around on my property, I'm not waiting.
Well, what was it last year? They say 4 million people got across the border that they could see but wasn't able to detain at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the people they could see.
Well,
so
since Biden's been president.
So how many that we couldn't see?
Figure it's at least double the known gotaways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At least.
Because the smugglers know where the surveillance points are. The smugglers know where, like, I mean, the Biden administration knows the information.
Oh, for sure. No, the cartels aren't stupid either.
Yeah,
And the cartels have their connections with China as well, I'm sure. They wouldn't be running
So, you know
like
what
they are.
You know what I find interesting? Like 2 years ago, like Schumer saying he doesn't get the big deal undocumented immigrants have a right to vote, and now he's saying they're here, they have a right to vote.
Well, let's talk them into voting Republican. Let's harvest their votes.
Right?
So what's going on up in Ohio? Somebody was trying to buy farmland there in Ohio where that all happened. I don't know who it was. I think it was either China or Bill Gates. But you know who lives over there? Amish people. Amish people didn't want to sell. The Amish people don't want to sell their land.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened to be right in the area of where that spill is.
Yeah, and now they're making it a hazardous wasteland by burning.
Did you see that video that JD Vance put out?
I'm not even. The name's not even striking. Oh, maybe JD's the redheaded comedian, right?
No, JD Vance is the fucking representative of the district that East Palestine is in. He's a big Trump supporter.
Oh no. Yeah, I policies. Still not a.
He was down at one of the creeks there in that town, and at the surface level, from if it wasn't disturbed water, it just looked like a creek running. But he took a stick and fucking scraped the bed of the creek, and all this fucking rainbow just comes up, and it's just oil slick, just chemical spill. You could see it. Like it's all rainbow and shit. And then there's videos on YouTube of people throwing rocks into the river, and then what comes up is a rainbow of just chemical waste.
I want to see what happens when people throw matches into the river.
That'd be interesting to see.
Which river is that?
It's saying that all the chemicals are settling they say that the chemicals are all settling at the bottom of the river.
Yeah, the river by East Trainwreck was a couple weeks ago that they hid until a few days.
The one there's it's a town.
Yeah, we're freaking out about it, and it's already been like half a month.
Dogs are dying, or animals,
Chickens.
pets are dying. People are getting headaches.
People are getting rashes.
Yeah.
And I love that the EPA went and tested one house and decided that they're all.
Well, so I'm trying to deal.
My data's going.
Here's the deal with Here's the deal with the EPA. The EPA is going around and telling people, they have these contracts to be like, hey, we'll test your air for free, but you have to sign this contract, and it's a non-disclosure agreement saying that they will not hold the EPA or Norfolk Railroad or any of its subsidiaries accountable for anything that happens on the land, or you know what I'm saying? So they can have a liability clause like fucking the COVID vaccine.
So, again.
Which from what I've read, they are going house to house and testing the water supplies.
Yeah, on Glenn Beck, there was a lady that lives there that called Glenn Beck and was like, she sent him a copy of the agreement that the EPA, the Norfolk people, the CTC or whatever, who was going to do the testing for him, came by with a paper saying, we'll test it for free, but you can't hold us accountable for anything that happens. And he's like, you didn't sign it, did you? And she's like, no, but there's like 350 other residents that are stupid that did sign it.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is where are all these art defacers and protesters for, gas? And what does FEMA stand for?
Federal Emergency
And-
Management Organization. Agency.
So it's not natural disaster, right?
No, it's federal
It's,
emergency.
it's for an emergency.
It's emergency management.
And they still haven't done shit to help the people of Palestine, Ohio.
No, so
A guy from. Go ahead.
another one with hazardous chemicals right by the river. Here by 99 that was caused by a collision.
A collision. Jesus.
Yeah. But a train derailed here, like up by, not too far from the airport, actually.
In Houston? I heard about that like just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Did it have a bunch of chemicals on it?
So, yeah, it has hazmat out there and everything too. Like one time, like the entire city, like basically got shut down because there's a hazmats of 45 and 59 and 288, and those were Houston, so it backed up everything for miles all the way outside the city. So,
how do you fix a problem like that?
I mean, for one thing, stop letting idiots drive.
Well, you should make sure that your trains are safe to be on the tracks. Because from what I've seen footage of that train that wrecked in Ohio, and one of the fucking axles was shooting sparks like all over. Like it had gone by a stop, and you could see sparks coming out from underneath the cart that fucking derailed. I don't know what happened.
Okay, you do know it works all the time, right? Because it's metal on metal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, this wasn't that. This wasn't that. You could see that it was there was a certain place where sparks were flying from. It wasn't like from the wheels, like anything that you would see just from a regular train fucking being on.
There's probably something hanging from that cart, and whoever was expecting it, its last stop didn't.
They were saying it was They were saying what I heard. I can't cite my source, but the mainstream media never does, so I'm not going to bother anyways either. The wheel bearing failed and caused the fucking issue is what I heard. It could be something else. I honestly don't know.
I heard it heated up too much and failed.
Well, if the wheel bearing stopped moving, which means it would have been getting dragged metal against metal. So yeah, it would have been shooting sparks like flint and steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when all the metal disappeared, because that's what happened, it ate away all the metal. I mean, that's why they had to rebuild tracks too.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I don't know what's going on in other parts of the country, but here in LA and all the tracks here, like all over town, that they have the railroad ties and the new rails like laying out all over town.
I'm just waiting for the next derailment. Yeah, that's interesting. I've always seen those, but I've never really knew what they were for. I was like, what the hell is that for? Are they like building a new track or what? Oh no, it's
for replacing tracks, because I mean, so you still have metal on metal like all the time out, and
it's
then like
out.
and the like soaked in fire retardant, but like sooner or later the railroad ties will eventually, you'll go through the retardant and they'll eventually start burning. Like if you ever just chill next to train tracks when a train's going by, the amount of sparks is this like shit not like catch everything on fire. Like I mean the engines have changed a little bit, but for the most part, train technology hasn't changed in 200 years. That's fucking. And like this ancient is still the way that we transport like 90% of our goods in this country.
Well, it's the most cost-effective way of doing it. So.
Yeah, so you should be all over this shit. If it's not, I guess Pete has a problem getting on anything that I'm not even gonna go there. We'll be kicked off YouTube.
What Buttigieg?
I was gonna make a comment about the only thing that Mr. Buttigieg would get on top of.
I know. I figured that.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. What I notice is what we have going on right now is parts of the government failing miserably and passing the buck and blame game, not doing anything to fix any of the problems or to hold anybody accountable. So it was like I was saying like yesterday with the whole like Lemony Snicket's crap. It's all of Biden's unfortunate events. Like everything just accidentally. Like at some point, you would think the 81 million people that voted for Biden to elect this asshole. Like everything in the country is broken and nothing works. And they're not doing anything to fix anything. They just complain about what had happened, try and figure out a way to figure out something else to talk about.
Well, what they do is they go and wreck everything and then try to make it a little better and try and take a victory lap when even though how it got a little better is still 10 times worse than it was when he got into office.
Yeah, something starts at 100, they break it down to 0, get it going to 20, empty. Never mind that we're at minus 80, you know?
Yeah, it's like 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like a cat.
Oh, dear God. What was that?
I think this would be like you're running a marathon, right? And you fall down and you expect to get a medal for standing up.
No, here's what it's like, okay? You think you're overweight at 225 pounds. So you go see the personal trainer. The personal trainer makes you gain an additional 200 pounds and then starts training you and brings you down 50 pounds and says, hey, look, I got you down 50 pounds from this 450 pounds. Now you only weigh 400. Yeah, but when I started, I weighed 250. Right? Right? You see what I'm saying? So like Biden came in with the gas at 280. Then it went up to 7 or 8, right, on average. And then it came down, and then he wants to take credit for it coming down from its peak. It's like, dude, you're the reason it peaked.
Yeah, and it's still $1 more per. It was like $1.83 when he took office, and it was when he took office.
Yeah, I could say that a lot of that was due to COVID, but still, it was even before COVID, it was going down.
Well, okay, so started ramping down because less was being used during COVID, and then if you remember, even before production was so high, the companies were trying to reel back their production because they were producing so much they weren't even able to sell it, so they were paying people to take their oil because they're out of storage. But the well, you know, because if you go out and look, all these wells are running without people. Millions of wells across the country, and they have to get people out to shut them down. And so it takes time. And then when they started applying for the permits to increase production again, is demand. The Biden administration refuses to issue the permits.
Yeah,
and then you said,
like,
why don't you guys?
Yeah, why aren't you guys investing? Because you said you're trying to make us obsolete, you idiot.
Yeah, well, and to build a refinery, he wants it gone in 10 years, which means they'd have 3 years to recoup dollars that they're going to put into a refinery, and it's not even possible to build a refinery that you're going to make back to build it in 3 years. So it's a bad bet. So, yeah, no, the whole thing's ridiculous. I mean, the reality is, like, Joe Biden, like, he doesn't understand economics. He doesn't understand energy. He doesn't understand anything about anything. He does, because nobody was appointed for their ability. They're all appointed for their check boxes. So he actually understands how the shit they're in charge of works.
Right.
Nobody. None of them.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when the train wrecks, I was actually referring to train wrecks that don't involve trains, like everything else right now, thanks to Biden. Be surprised, like, with the amount of like non-train train wrecks that Biden's causing, that we're getting. Have we gotten any comments? Don't comment. You like, subscribe, share, let people know we're out there. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's on Facebook also, or on Rumble, because YouTube constantly comes after us for naughty things.
Big naughty things.
We're naughty monkeys.
You scare me.
Yeah,
So
he likes the donkey shows.
did you see anything else interesting in the news? Tired of it because I keep hearing different angles on the same shit.
What are you talking about?
Anything in general. Like right now, all I keep seeing articles from one set of press saying that Russia's on the verge of taking over. On another set of press, Russia's on the verge of collapse, run all their territory back again. And then I see derailing because of the incompetence of Pete Buttigieg. And then on the other one, it says the trains are just because it's just chance, and it always happens. Like,
no, it always happens, but there's if you dig into what's going on and who's okay. So look,
here's my question:
the odds that this town is going to be able to prove that Norfolk Railroad is the reason that they're going to have all these cancers and stuff is going to be really slim. This has happened before, and it has happened in the same area. But the thing is it costs them millions per day to not have that line open. Okay, so they did a calculation, and by the time anything happens from this wreckage, they're gonna already have made hundreds of millions before they even have to go to court to try and do a settlement. It's going to be literally Aaron Brockovich on the East Coast is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, right?
I don't know. You keep breaking up, man.
You've seen Fight Club.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Fight Club at the beginning, he's explaining how whether or not they do a recall.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
They do the calculation on the failure rate, the number of people that are going to be injured, out of court settlement, and then they compare it to the estimated problem. And if fixing the problem is more expensive than the settlements for the kill, they don't fix the problem.
Right.
Like, and that's how it works. Like, they're just never going to, because they're not going to just keep getting away with it.
And the thing is there's people that are invested into this, and the people are like BlackRock. I think, I'm not sure. I know BlackRock's involved. I don't know if Microsoft or Bill Gates is involved with the Norfolk Railroad Company. But there's a lot of this, investment places that are kind of shady and do the EGS bullshit scoring. They're investing into that. So,
oh, the ESG shit,
yeah,
environmental, social
governance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, and I find it kind of weird that what I've heard is that Bill Gates has been trying to buy farmland in that area, and the Amish people live there, and the Amish people don't want to give up their farmland, and so now there's all this toxic chemical in the land, which is going to make the land barren for what? Hundreds of thousands of years, if we're lucky.
Probably something.
I just think that it's a lot of odd coincidences, if you know what I mean.
Sounds like a conspiracy theory to me, Alex Jones.
It could be. Turn the frogs gay.
Dude, I watched the did with Piers Morgan. Like I never really had a problem with Piers Morgan, but now I hate Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan's a fucking idiot. I mean, sometimes he does good and sometimes he's terrible. So I don't know.
So, I mean, when he did the sit down interview with that was kind of interesting. Kinda. But I think it was in his interview, Alex Jones, like, it was obvious that, like, he brought him on under false, like, said they were gonna talk about one thing and then talked about something completely different. Like, well, like the Sandy Hook thing was supposed to be, and it ended up being like the only topic that they covered. And then Pierce kept asking got you questions, and as soon as Alex Pierce would go, you have to let me finish, and then like Pierce would get done patience for like 10 minutes. He'd give like Alex 30 seconds to respond what he wanted to say. Oh, I bow down in the fealty to the wokest reach. Pierce would just like cut him off again. So yeah, you know what I mean. So it was like kind of but yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting though, like some of the actual facts on that case don't really hear. Like even like in court, oh, he was out there this day, like just today before court, like was on the stand saying that he was out there doing that day, and then like transcripts of the show from that day, and like she literally not been, or he literally said on his show, like, you know, I think she was real. Like, I listened to some doctors and I should have checked my sources better, but like I feel horrible for this lady that had her loss, and like that was bad on me for not doing it. Like, and this is part of his show. He went like in court and like completely lied about what he was saying literally that same day. So it was like kind of crazy. Like, I mean, and his conversation about Sandy Hook, that's what he's kicked off of everything for. That's decided like free speech is absolute unless you're Alex Jones. That was what it was about. And like kind of like misunderstanding what he's calling a false flag, although I guess I don't think his definition is actually very accurate, but you can understand where he's coming from.
Right.
That they're like propping the behavior up, not that it was actually fake, but that they're willing to get their point, which is to get guns away from people.
Which is like, what they use MK Ultra for too, right?
Yeah, government always has agendas, and they always use all kinds of like shady tactics to get what they want. They always have. Like
It's
the
like
government's
that-
never.
It's like that shooter in fucking wherever it was just recently. Like that kid shouldn't have had a gun, and they knew it, and he had the gun. There's a lot of shady shit that happened with those police. God, why can't I remember the name of that town? It wasn't El Paso.
What, the one where the kids?
Oh, you're talking about the one down here in Uvalde.
Uvalde, that's it.
Are you talking about? Yeah. No, the kid had like guns and ammunition,
And this
and his
this
total
latest yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
his total work working for minimum wage at
Wendy's.
Wendy's or some shit.
Yeah, and he was driving a brand new Ford and had two Daniel Defense ARs that are like $5,000 a piece.
Yeah, and well, I mean, the truck was his grandma's.
Yeah, I know. And people totally misrepresented that on both sides. But
I mean,
anyways,
I still want to know where the hell he got the money for all those guns. If anything else, I'd like to know where he got the money for the guns, so I could go there and get the money for them guns.
So you can get.
I'd like to know why the FBI even, because he had been posting pictures of him with dead cats and clear plastic bags on Facebook and shit.
Yep.
The kid was
But
that kid was weird.
Facebook's not going to catch that, but God forbid we dead name somebody, we're not going to have a show anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank God it was in Texas and he can get fucking the punishment he deserves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then like, because obviously
What?
freaking mental.
What about this one up in Massachusetts? Why is it always fucking places that have like fucking strict gun laws? Oh, that's because criminals don't obey the law. Hence the word criminal.
Well, they know there's going to be nobody there with a gun to stop them.
Exactly. It makes it a prime. Okay. If all the gazelle are hanging out in one spot, where do you think the lions are gonna go? They'll probably go to the other side of the fucking continent, right?
Yeah, they'll go to the place where there are no gazelle, but there's lots of lion traps.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
a good analogy.
That's how the gun control lobby like thinks is criminals. Well, we know that they don't obey laws. Like they're like that. But if we
let's treat everybody like criminals.
Yeah, and it leaves out like the fact that like, you know, the worst gun violent city and their like guns are basically illegal.
Right.
So,
hey,
and
you guys want to leave on a
Pierce Morgan? He was saying that to Alex Jones. He was trying to say, how many gun deaths? Well, that's a tiny island that you can control what goes in and out. Like kind of the same thing with Australia. Island.
Uh-huh.
It makes it kind of hard to get stuff in and out. But the murder rate now in the UK is like twice as high as it was legal there. So, like,
that's weird.
If you take murder, there will still be murder. They'll just find another way to kill because a sick person figured out a way to do it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You guys want to end on a funny note?
But you know what? People don't kill people? Dead people. So if you kill somebody.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
I don't want to die by the sword, but I'll live by it.
Well, my
yes, I've got a sword too. My first bow.
You got fucking Michonne here in whiteface.
Michonne.
Oh, you've never seen Walking Dead?
Oh, like I watched bits and pieces of it, but just in general, I just didn't like the show.
She's the black girl that carries around the samurai sword.
Oh, okay. I got you. Michonne.
Mm-hmm.
Never got into
Never mind. Uma Thurman was a much more famous person character.
Dude, that wasn't Uma Thurman that got famous. That was fucking what's his name? God damn it! I had his name in my. I can't even think of it now. The guy who directed him. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino.
But he's the one that made that.
Walking around with a sword during those movies.
Yeah. Wiggle your big toe. No, I wanted to end. I wanted to end the stream on a funny note.
Oh boy.
Okay, so
This ought to crack you guys up.
Oh boy.
That was the funniest note. We got rid of Rob. There's the funny note.
That was worthwhile right there.
Oh man, that was great. He's like, so end it, and then he ends his stream. I'm like, oh fuck, all right, cool.
That made it worthwhile right there.
All right, well, let's see if he pops back up. Oh, so you heard about the New York Times and the letter that the trans LGBTQ poop plus emoji squirt fucking eggplant. They wrote a letter to the New York Times about this piece that they wrote about some transgender person. I don't remember. Anyways,
yeah.
So the New York Times is like their employees signed on to this letter, and so the New York Times apparently slammed them for signing on. Oh, dude, you ruined the joke. You came back. You said so, ended on a good note, and then you disappeared. And I was like, dude, my job is done.
No, I tried to refresh the stream and I accidentally exited the stream.
So, anyways, here's the funny note. The White House doctor claims Biden fit to serve as president despite no cognitive test.
Yeah,
he's fit to be Bernie.
Dude, has anybody watched the man walk or stand or sit? Dude, he's not physically fit to be a paperweight.
Or a puppet.
Well, no, apparently he is physically fit to be a puppet because that's what he's doing now.
And he's not doing a good job of it, though, is what I'm saying.
He's doing the job that he's being directed to do.
He's not coming off like he should. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I would hope that Jeff Dunham would have.
Yeah, he's not coming off. He's not coming off the way he should. That's why Jill's kissing Kamala's husband.
Right.
Oh.
But you see, I would imagine the puppeteer is good enough to where the president doesn't slur his words and make shit up.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Popcorn was a tough dude, man. He was a bad dude.
Popcorn. All right, so we're gonna end the show on popcorn.
I took old Popcorn to the donkey show. Kicked the shit out of him.
Donkey show.
Oh, except today I wasn't in the screen.
Oh man, bummer. That one looked like it was ready for you, Rob.
So 2 donkeys for the price of 1. Anyways, everyone, make sure you like, subscribe, share. Make sure you follow us on one of the alternate platforms if you're watching us on YouTube because, well, we all know what BlueTube is like. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for joining. Brad, Brian, thanks for jumping on.
Please switch over to Rumble.
Yeah,
Please
I'll try
switch
and
over to
yeah, I'll try and find some more information on the space elevator before the next show, because now my mind's like running around like the math on the physics, and so I'm like really curious what their solutions are for what to me are the obvious problems with the physics. So anyway, y'all have a good night. Thank you so much.
Later.
Oh, he's ending the Rumble stream.
I would think so.
That's usually what happens every time the screen goes black.
Look.
But it always ends up going back, so.
Oh God.
It
Why? Why?
was there for the taking. It was low fruit. It was low
Could've just
hanging.
stayed gone. How you doing, man?
Working my butt off, hoping I would get strep throat from my wife.
Does she have strep?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Oh, did it every time. Every time he does that.
Yeah.
She's been sick since.
Every time he does that, or we mention China,
Yeah.
he disappears.
She was sick Monday and Tuesday, really bad. Like she had a fever, which is why I wasn't on. So she all went to the ER yesterday to get the test, the strep throat test.
Okay.
She said there's this drunk guy there, and he was a younger guy, and he had this fucking terrible rash, and he was fucking crying and fucking being drunk and belligerent and talking to people on the phone, and he was talking about how he had just gotten here and he was all alone and blah blah blah.
Oh shit.
And apparently he had fucking MRSA on his asshole.
I love
Yeah. I was like, man, you sound really invested into this guy's fucking problem.
Yeah.
No, the nurse came up to me and started talking.
Thanks, honey. I just wanted to know about that.
Boy, he said
I guess we need to.
No,
Why, bro?